So girls, we're going to do the same thing as what we did last lesson, sketching parabolas or sketching quadratic equations. Okay, we're going to go through the same steps. We found the y-intercept, which is basically the number without x. So in this case, the y-intercept is just 2. Yep. But the problem for the x-intercept in this equation, we can't factorize it. Okay? There's no two numbers that you can multiply at the same time add to give 6. It's just not possible, right? So in the exam, you usually want to use a quadratic formula to find the x-intercept. It's just less time consuming. But if they ask you for a specific method, in this case completing the square, you have to use that method, which is what we're going to do today. Okay? So we're going to learn to complete the square, which you've done during online learning. So let's just go through it again. All right? So the first step you got to do is make this equation equal to 0. Okay, make it equal to 0, and then what you want to do after that is bring the number without x to the other side. So x squared plus 6x equals 2 minus 2. Okay, now this is like your form or a template you can use to make completing the square quicker. So what goes inside the bracket is always just x plus half of that number. Yeah, so it's 3. Yeah, so half of it. So basically divide by 2. Now that number is the same, but you always have to plus on the square of that number. So if you square 3, that's 9. So that's always going to be the case when you complete the square. Okay? So from here, let's now simplify it. So now I've got bracket x plus 3 squared is equal to minus 2 plus 7, yeah, which is 7. Yeah, minus 2 plus 9. And then from here, solve for x. So in other words, solve for that. So what do I need to do? Get rid of the square first. Yeah, so I've got x plus 3 is now equal to, don't forget the plus or minus. Yeah, when you square root something, you have to put plus or minus root 7. So finally, x is equal to, bring the plus 3 to the other side, minus 3 plus or minus root 7. So that's my actual x values in exact form. But we need to get the actual number as a decimal to be able to plot it. So what are my two answers from here? What is it? Minus 3 plus root 7. And my other one is minus 3 minus root 7. Okay? And you actually want to find out what these values are in the calculator so you can plot it on the graph. So if you put in the calculator, what did I get? You'll get for this one minus 0.4, and this one you'll get minus 5.6. Okay? So once you've got these values, now you can sketch it. All right? So I'll just do that quickly here in purple. All right? So what's my y-intercept again? 2. So let's say this is my scale. So this is 2 there. Now I've got minus 0.4. That's about, there. And then you've got minus 5.6, which is all the way. Okay, my scale's pretty off. You get the point. Let's say minus 5.6 is like there. Yep. And then concave up or down? Up, because it's positive in front. So let's join these 3 points up. So that's your graph.
Don't you have to find the turning point?
Yeah, which I'm going to do now. Okay. Now, you know how I said the turning point? Oh, firstly, to find the vertex or the turning point, you need to find the midpoint between the two x values, the axis of symmetry. Now I'm going to give you a formula which actually gives you that value straight away. Okay? But before we get to that point, how do I actually find that midpoint? What did we do last lesson between these two? Add it and divide by 2 to find the midpoint, right? Now here's a new formula for you to find the axis of symmetry straight away, and I'll write it in blue. Okay? Axis of symmetry equals to minus b over 2a. And let me explain what that is. Alright. Girls, you always start with a minus. What is my b value from here? So, yeah. So let me label everything. This is technically 1, yeah? So this is a, this is b, this is c. So my b is plus 6. So you write 6 on top. Now 2a means 2 times my a value, which is 1. So what goes at the bottom? 2. So which is, what's that? Minus 3. So this is actually minus 3. Okay? And you can always obviously test it out. How would I actually find out if that's minus 3? If you do this plus that, 2 plus 3 is minus 3. 2 plus 3 is minus 3. 3 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 plus 3 is minus 3. divided by 2, you'll get minus 3. You obviously don't want to test it using these values because this is an approximated decimal. But if you put those exact values and divide by 2, you will get minus 3. Okay? So x is equal to minus 3. And finally, girls, if I wanted to remember, that gives you the x coordinate of the vertex. So that's minus 3 there. If I wanted to find the y coordinate, where would I need to substitute that in? Back into the original. Yep. So I'll just do that quickly here. That's going to be minus 3 squared plus 6 times minus 3 plus 2. If you put that in the calculator, I didn't do that. Could someone quickly do it? So that's 9 minus 18. That's minus 9 plus 2 minus 7. Okay? So yeah, that's how you basically draw a graph if you can't factorize it. Okay? Now, I'm going to go through this question because sometimes there is no X-intercept. It's impossible to find the values of X, and I'll show you which case that is and the reason for that. All right, girls, let's do this question here. Let me get a different colored pen. Ladies, what's my y-intercept? 15. Now, X-intercept, girls, you really need to listen to this one. What was my first step? Make it equal to 0. So x squared plus 6x plus 15 equals to 0. And then bring the plus 15 to the other side. That's minus 15. Following the template, which is what I've written up there. So I'll just put it here. All right. Girls, fill in the blank for me. What am I writing inside the bracket here? X plus half of 6 is 3. That minus 15 is always there, but always add on the square of what you wrote inside the bracket, which is 9. Okay, now we're going to solve for x, and here's the problem, if you can notice. Girls, what's that?
Minus 15 plus 9.
What's that?
Minus 6, I think.
From here, can you see why I can't proceed? There's no point. Girls, the next step is to square root the number on the other side. But you can't square root a negative number. So as soon as you see a negative number on the other side, you stop here.
You just leave it like that?
I'll write the note. Because you can't square root negative number. Girls, if there's no x-intercept, that's what it means. There is no x-intercept. Okay?
Then how do you draw a graph then?
And which is the next part I'm going to teach you. If there is no x-intercept, and all we have right now is just a y-intercept, then how do you sketch it? Well, that's the next part I want to show you. I'll do it there. Is that? I hope it captures that bit.
Oh, the left side, yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So the only information we have right now is that it passes through what?
Y.
Which is 15. Okay, that's the only information we have. Girls, this is where the new part, the extra part that I taught you up at the bottom here, the axis of symmetry formula will help us how the graph will look like a bit more. So let's find out the axis of symmetry from there. Yep. Let me write down the formula again just for everyone. All right. Ladies, what's my b value in that question? 6. And what's my 2 times a? What's my a value in that equation?
1.
No.
1. Yeah, but 2 times 8.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
You were working your head. Hey, need to cater for everyone in the audience. All right, so 2 times 1, like you said, is 2. All right. Girls, right there. That gives us more detail on what the graph looks like because this is all we have. It goes through 15. So let's put this bit here, minus 3. That's here. That means the graph will be cut into half at that point. What else could I find once I have that? The vertex or the turning point. Because right now we have this. We can find that out. Yeah, if you substitute this back into the original, which I'll show you the working out here. So
3 squared plus 6 times 3 minus 3 squared 9 minus 8
Minus 9 plus 15.
6.
Is it?
Yeah, 6.
6. Okay. So, yeah. So let's say 6 is here. So that's my vertex right here. What do you think the graph is going to look like? Provided that it has no x-intercept, it means it won't touch the x-axis at all.
Like that.
It would just be a parabola up in the air, like this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this can be a bit tricky if there is no x-intercept. The graph does not touch the x-axis. In that case, you got to go based off the 3 things you can find from there. Oh, then that's easy. Then if there is an x-intercept, you won't be in that situation where you have a negative number on the other side. There will always be a positive number. Yeah? So that is one special case. Okay? So that's how you do it if there is no x-intercept. Find the axis of symmetry, find the vertex. With these two, I'm not going to graph it. I just wanted to show you the technique on how to complete the square if you have a negative in front and if you have a number in front of x squared where it's not 1. Girls, same steps. First one's easy. What did I teach you last time if there's a minus in front of x squared? So take it out. What am I writing inside? X squared.
X plus 4.
That's right. Girls, from here, complete the square like you usually would. Okay? The minus in front does not affect the x-intercept. Just solve it as usual. Okay? I'll let you figure. Yeah, you're just completing the square from there. Now, girls, this one I really want you to pay attention to though. If the number in front of x squared is not 1 and it's a number that is not 1, you want to take the 3 out. Okay? Just like how we took the negative out, take the 3 out. So you'll get 3, it's that. What am I writing next? 3 times what's 12? 4x. What's my next one?
10 over 3.
Okay? And then you're completing the square from there. Does that make sense?
10 over 3.
Because 10 over 3 times 3 is 10. Okay? Yeah, should be fine from there. And then you do the same steps as usual. Okay? Girls, any questions? Alright, copy this down. These 2 are questions that I want you to try on your own after you've copied this down and then do the exercise. Question that up. Alright, thanks girls.